Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, I found my people in passion. Well, I've got a really great email success story on the process that somebody goes through in order to discover their purpose. And this particular success story that I'm going to share with you is actually from a woman who has been following my work and my videos for the past several years. And I actually did a previous newsletter for her about 2 years ago where I answered when she was still trying to figure it out for herself, life, work, and relationship balance. So what's cool about this is here's an email success story from a woman who has been following my work and has been able to accomplish her purpose. And wait till you see the enthusiasm in her voice and how everything just magically clicked. So this particular email that she sent to me is after she just had her second day on what she considers her dream job, where everything just jives. She feels like she just fits right in, and she fits right in so well she really doesn't even need any training on her second day on the job. So for you guys that are maybe going, well, it's too hard, it's too long, it's not going to work out for me, here's a girl. I mean, seriously, if a girl can follow the things that I teach and succeed, I mean, any guy that's going, I can't make it, it's too hard. It's like, come on. If a girl can do it, I mean, come on. Time to man up, guys. So with that said, I got a quote that I wrote, and then I'm going to go through her email. And the quote says, in order to reach your full potential and do what you consider to be great work, you must love what you do. When you love what you are doing, you'll do it out of sheer enthusiasm and joy for the work itself. It is fun and effortless because it seems more like playing than working. When you love your life's work, you will outwork and out-hustle any potential competitor because most others will be working for money and not for the joy of the work itself. Passion for something internally compels you to become obsessed with mastering all of the essential details required for successful and competent execution. And you're going to see that here in her email. I'm so proud of this girl. She's doing so fucking awesome. And plus she details some of the struggles that she went through, including some of like the really dark times that she had, because we all have to face this. We all come up against what our fears are. And fears will rob our... Basically, human beings have two primary fears. I know I've talked about this in the past, but it's definitely worth repeating for those of you who haven't seen some of those videos where I've talked about it. Our first fear is fear that we're not enough. In other words, fear that we're not good enough. We don't have what it takes to achieve what it is that we want to achieve. And the second fear is the fear that we won't be loved and accepted by our friends, family, or peer group. And you'll see in her email, I mean, she had obviously some real serious doubts, and she did a bunch of different things. And also what I liked about it is kind of tying into my next book, which is going to be coming out, because a lot of it is going to be about aligning your life with your true calling. And I've just, as a matter of fact, I don't know if I relayed this in the last video that I did, but the conclusion's all done, and now we're just strictly proofreading the book at this point. So you see the comments like, when's it coming out? Release it already. It's like, I got to get it right first. Because obviously if there's a lot of mistakes in it, people are going to tell you all about it. So with that said, let's go through her email. Because again, we have a woman here that's crushing it. So any guy that's telling himself that, oh, it's too hard, I mean, come on. If a girl can do it, let's get started, shall we? She says, Dear Coach Wayne, I've written you a couple of times over the last few months to share my progress on my YouTube channel about masculine and feminine energy. So she actually started a YouTube channel a while back and was doing videos talking about masculine energy, feminine energy, some of her experiences dating. And she sent me the links, and I watched a couple of them, and they were actually pretty fucking good. She's really good on camera. However, you'll see it's just part of her process, if you will. Being successful is the result of sustained discipline to the process of being successful. And most people just are unwilling, and they don't really have a good strategy in order to get them over the hump, to get them through the roadblocks, the challenges, the setbacks, the things that don't work out. The key guiding principle, and that I've been refining this my whole, because it's really an art, it's not a science, it's not black and white, your purpose. It's like, I was thinking about this earlier today. I mean, I started out when I was in 6th grade memorizing success quotes, just because I remember the first time I read it, it was a friend of mine who had it written down on one of his folders at school. I remember like it was yesterday, even though it was like 35 something years ago. So I remember looking at it going, the words just spoke to me. I was like, that's really cool. I have to write those down. And it just started a hobby. And as I got older, I got more into studying spiritual truths and different spiritual traditions. Started studying self-help, started studying sales, started studying things like Tony Robbins or Dr. Wayne Dyer, guys like Tom Hopkins or Zig Ziglar or Jim Rohn or Napoleon Hill. I mean, I went through all Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I was always looking for an edge, looking to get better. What can I learn from people that are way more successful than I am? So it's like each time you learn a little skill, a little technique, a little strategy, it makes you better, it makes you more efficient. And those are the things that I teach in my book and in my videos, because the reality is I've been leaning on these things my whole life as I've learned them and applied them, and I write about them, I talk about them, and obviously I've written about it extensively in my upcoming 2nd book. Because it's not easy going for the things you want in life. It's a motherfucker. And there will be plenty of times where you're questioning yourself and you're thinking, man, is it really worth it? And when you can't come up with anything else better than what you have set out to accomplish, that's what keeps you going, is that compelling vision, that compelling mission. Something that's exciting, something that jazzes you, something that makes you jump out of the bed excited in the morning about the day. And until you have found that, until you're living that, you need to keep working to discover that and refine that and experience and explore and research things that feel exciting to you or compelling or things that you're really curious about, because it's a process. It's not like you go to somebody and you flip on a switch, or it's A or B, this is the box I fit into, because it evolves. Something that hit me when I was in 6th grade, and like here I am, it's like it's easy to look back on it now in my life and say, wow, it makes total sense that I eventually became a coach, because I was always mentoring and teaching and coaching, whether it was in the business world or just trying to help myself to become more successful in life and business in every other area of my life that I want to become better at. So she says, it's not about my channel, but it's the last update I hope to send now, because I have an actual success story to share, which if it wasn't for you and your followers, I would have never achieved. And she also gives some credit to the rest of you guys that watch these videos, just because being in the comments section and talking amongst each other, the people in the community have helped give her reason to keep on keeping on, if you will. So for those of you watching this video that are part of my community, you should thank yourselves as well, because you had a hand in her staying committed and her success. She says, about 2 years ago, you made a video called Life, Work, and Relationship Balance. Back then, I was living what I had hoped would be my dream life, which turned out to be a massive learning experience on reality, people, patience, and perseverance, at many times a living hell. I actually planned my suicide at one stage. Well, if you ever get to where things are that bad, there's plenty of suicide prevention hotlines that you can call and talk to somebody, because whenever you feel like you've hit the wall and you've tried everything, all you're really lacking is another idea, another permutation to try. So when you feel like you've hit the wall, maybe you should step away, take time to relax, distract yourself, and just look for the next thing that you can try. Success often is just really a process of elimination. She says, since then, I've been working on one thing at a time, as you say, just trying to get a little better each and every day. One thing that struck me, I've been reading Ray Dalio's book, Principles, Life and Work. Ray Dalio runs, at least until recently, Bridgewater Capital, which was one of the largest, most successful hedge funds in the world. And what's interesting about his book, and here's one of the wealthiest and most successful people in the world, And over the course of his career, I mean, in the 82, 83, he actually, at the height of his pinnacle of his early success, he went and testified to Congress, and he basically said all these bad things are about to happen because of things that happened in the late 1970s with the oil embargo and interest rates and inflation and things of that nature. And so he very publicly staked his reputation on the line. I think it was like 1982. And then the stock market did the exact opposite of what he had testified that it was going to do, because all the experts were scratching their head going, what we're experiencing now doesn't match any of the models. It's not making sense. And so obviously when the market went the other way, it had a really negative impact on his fund. And it's like it pretty much within a couple of years, it wiped him out because of that. It destroyed his reputation. His clients lost a lot of money, which he felt horrible about. And so he'd had, I don't know if he had over 100 employees at that point. And it got to the point where it was just him again. I mean, you imagine you're the pinnacle of success. You go and you testify to Congress because Congress is looking for answers. They're trying to figure out the right way forward. Puts his reputation on the line. And he turns out to be wrong because there was something about the financial system that he didn't really completely understand about the debt cycle. And it was just a really fascinating story. Here's one of the most successful, wealthiest people in the world. And one of the reasons he's so successful is because he got totally fucking wiped out and had to completely start all over. I mean, that's a huge, humbling experience. Those are the kinds of things that the average person doesn't recover when they lose everything. I mean, like when the stock market crashed in 1929, people that were millionaires and had lost everything, they were jumping out of their office buildings and committing suicide from their office towers. So, I mean, you can imagine, it's like one of the reasons why I love reading books from people like that is that you can learn from their mistakes. And it's like it gives you goosebumps because you realize this guy's been through a lot of the similar things that I have. Any wealthy, successful person has had lots of ups and lots of downs, lots of victories, and it's like most successful, wealthy people that you'll meet have pretty much made it and then lost it all and then made it back, and some of them have even made it back and lost it all only to make it back once again. And the reason they make it back and they make a comeback is because they apply the things that I talk about all the time, which is the basic science of achievement fundamentals. And here, obviously, this woman's been following me for a few years. She's applied these same mindsets, this same way of thinking and approaching her problems and exploring the things that are emotionally compelling to her to get to where she is now. She says, since then, I've been working on one thing at a time, as you say, just trying to get a little better each and every day. In a nutshell, I would say on reflection that my biggest problems have been my inability to be in my masculine when I needed to be, because that masculine energy, even for a woman, is purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers. And if you're going to be successful, whether you're a man or a woman, you've got to be comfortable jumping into that energy because you need it to achieve. The key is to be balanced and being able to jump out of it, especially when it comes to your relationship life, if you're a woman, for that matter. Or being in my feminine with the wrong or weak people when I should have stood my ground and negotiated for myself. Again, that's a similar kind of process I experienced in my own life with my business partners. Again, I wrote about it really extensively, the things that I learned. It's not easy. It's easy for somebody on the outside to just say, oh, well, tell that person to fuck off. Well, what if you're in business with them and you got 40 employees and you got millions of dollars tied up, or maybe you're married to that person? It's not so easy just to tell somebody that, hey, just tell that dude to fuck off. Sometimes you have to plan and you have to strategize. Sometimes you have to wait for your opportunity and eat some crow. I had overcome so much self-doubt, and I started to actually believe that I am capable. I made wiser decisions, and I stayed well clear of the wrong people and situations. I lost count of the number of people I've walked away from, jobs I've left, and pursuits that haven't really been big passions of mine. I'm no longer making my videos for this reason. So what's interesting about that is she was making YouTube videos for a while because she was really into the work and what she was learning and wanted to help other people, wanted to give back. And so she went and did it to see how she liked it. And she was able to scratch that off her list. That's how you figure things out. And sometimes when you go and you do something that you're really curious about and it's initially compelling to you, after you do for a while, you realize, that's not that exciting. And then you see something else, or maybe it triggers your imagination when you're doing something and then you realize it's not what you really want. It's like when I was in the mortgage business or the buy, fix, and sell real estate business, I saw the opportunity in general real estate because we were so successful at selling our fixed up foreclosure properties to people, the end users that wanted to live in them. So we had a method for selling our own properties and thought, well, what if we applied the same sales methodology, we could actually get buyers and sell them just regular houses that were in the multiple listing service that all realtors have access to. And so because I was involved in something I was passionate about, I saw another business opportunity that I decided to take advantage of because we already had the licenses to do all that. And that comes when you're immersed in your work, when you're immersed in what you're passionate about. You see opportunities. And if I hadn't have been in that business and had been only dreaming about it, doing something else, maybe if I was still in the construction industry, I would have never gotten to experience that and the wealth that came along with it. I've now become good at knowing what I want, where to find it, and how to get it, and I could write a book on just the last 2 years. Well, now that you've done it yourself, you know how to do it, and that's valuable. That's another part of your talent stack, and if you decide down the road to teach, because really, as the great Vince Lombardi said, coaching is teaching after all, maybe that's something for you to explore. Last week, my mom told me about a luxury hotel which is owned by a famous chef, one of the best in the world. I was invited for an interview and I spent the day there, and I got offered a job on the spot. I'm managing a section of rooms, some of which are over several $1,000s a night. It's been voted the best hotel in my country, and I actually had tears in my eyes when I walked into the first room. Think about the emotions, what she's thinking and feeling there. You just know, you're certain. It's not like, I kind of like this. It's just it feels right. It felt so right. She was overcome by emotion. That's when you know. That's when when you light up internally. I felt that after all the struggles, keeping going, never giving up and settling, that finally I was standing in a creation of people with high standards, people who I thought didn't exist. I finally felt home. Today was my second day, and they barely had to give me any training because I feel like I've been preparing for this place my whole life. Just like me being a coach. It's like I never started out. I just started doing things I was curious about, which was memorizing success quotes and studying, seeing where that ball of yarn went, if you will. And look where I am today because of that passion and that curiosity. Then I went and explored instead of just going, oh, well, that's stupid. It's stupid to write down that success quote. I just did it naturally, instinctively, because it felt right. I felt compelled to do it. I was internally driven to do it. And the more you exercise doing what feels right internally and gravitating towards things that feel right, the more these kinds of things like she's experiencing, you get to experience in your own life. The final thing is, these people are a different sort of person to everyone else I have met and run away from. They seem to be the best at everything: people skills, managing, designing, creating, and enjoying. And I finally feel I found my people and my passion. I want to be there every day, all day. If it wasn't for you, I would have never believed it was possible for me to be where I am today, because until I got my foot in the door, you and your people, that means you watching this video, people part of this community, are still the only people I've ever come across who take what you teach seriously and want to know and become their potential selves. Thank you. I cannot wait for 2 years' time. Well, thanks for that great success story, and congratulations on your success. It's your birthright. Life is so much better now because you're in a place where you belong. And the hotel that you've joined is now better because now your goals and your values are totally aligned with theirs. Just imagine as more and more people start to live their lives like she does. You go out to eat, it's going to be a better experience because you're going to encounter more people in the restaurant business who actually love entertaining and talking to people and being in the restaurant business, or somebody that you watch on TV, or your favorite actor, or that favorite business that you frequent. When you encounter people who love what they do and they have a passion for it, they're really good at it, and they make your interactions with them easy and effortless. And that helps you get control of your time and have a more positive experience in life. And for those of you that maybe you're in a situation, maybe you're having some blocks or some challenges, you're having a hard time with your purpose, or maybe you want to evolve your purpose and you're contemplating maybe a career change or some kind of lateral move, or maybe you need some help with time management, go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book whatever coaching option works for you. And I will talk to you soon.